All right. So talk to us about the business or businesses probably that you run specifically, and what kind of results you guys get for your clients and for your customers.
Sure. We have three different companies. So we have one product, but we skin it for local businesses at localgrowth.com. We skin it for churches and tweak it for churches at reachthelost.com. And then we also have rescuemissionmarketing.com, which we same engine, but we just tweak it. So it sounds exhausting having like three different companies, but it's really just one product. It's a traffic flywheel that we've built, and we modify that for each of the companies.
And how long have you been in business for yourself?
I made the jump almost exactly 10 years ago. And I've learned a lot in those 10 years, and happy to share anything I've learned through failures and successes with your people.
Thanks. Yeah. So why a sabbatical? And when kind of in the timeline of your 10-year entrepreneurship did that come, and kind of why did you decide to ultimately pursue that direction?
So about 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I decided that I don't want to work Fridays. So we have four kids, and my wife wasn't working at the time, and weekends were just parent, dad and mom. And so a lot of my clients are churches, and a lot don't work Fridays anyway. So it feels very slow. So I think it was 5 years ago, I said, I'm going to stop working Fridays. And I try to set up all these systems and autoresponders. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if someone panics and needs something? And I took that first Friday off, and it was amazing. And nobody died. Nobody's business went under. And I'm like, oh, this was really cool. So I didn't really tell that many people. And so the next Friday I did the same thing. And we use that as like a date day. So we live in Colorado Springs. We tried a new coffee shop, my wife and I. And yeah, it's been 5 years, even through COVID. Not working Fridays has been awesome. And so last year, and I try and slow down for the summer just because I have to. Our kids are 15, 13, 13, and almost 13. So we have football, we got band, we got basketball, dance, all the things. And now my wife does work full time, so I'm kind of the dad taxi. So I kind of slow down anyway. And so I'm like, what if I took a sabbatical? And this is part of the working with churches, pastors take sabbaticals all the time. So I had this idea of taking a sabbatical, which I think, we're in the business space. People don't do that.
Mhm.
They'll say it, but a lot of it's, they're burnt out, or they got
Yeah.
forced to like take something. So I took that to my business coach. I said, hey, I want to take a sabbatical. And she was like, no, you don't. And I'm like, wait, why not? And we talked through it. So I think I was using the wrong verbiage, because for me, like sabbatical was shutting down everything. And she's like, Mike, I know you, like, you can't do that. And so we actually coined this term. We called it the go slow summer. And the idea was slow it down, but don't stop. And also, like I need to create, I need to work. That helps me keep that life balance. But
Mhm.
last summer, it was my go slow summer, and logging in a little bit, doing a little bit of work. But really, I think March is when I stopped taking on new business. And you kind of see, like, your load gets lighter, your cash flow gets lighter, but also budgeting it as well. Like, what do we need to live on? What do we have to make? And so we did this go slow summer last year, and it was amazing. But it also prepared me. So my coach has, she calls it a pre-flight checklist. Whenever you go somewhere, like, have a flight checklist, and then a post-flight checklist. When you get back, have a checklist to go through. So having that go slow summer, I still took some sales calls. I still had leads coming in. I would, I have a VA, and she handled all that. She managed my email. But I had a record fall, even with taking a go slow summer, because I still showed up.
Mhm.
Um, so I think part of that was just my personality. Like, I can't step away. Like, that causes me more anxiety than like stepping away. But I had a healthy, and we have a place, we have a cabin we go to a lot. So go into the cabin, like, I wake up early, so I work a little bit and play. But for me, it just gave me a chance to be creative as well. slowing things down. And what's interesting is that carried over into the fall as well. And you probably heard the bigger isn't better, better is better. And so I thought it would just be this go slow summer, but it kind of had this effect of um, why do I need to like turn things up to 10? Like I can live comfortably at like 6 or 7 and have a life. And we have a mutual friend who's starting a co-working spot. And like 2 weeks ago, like 2 in the afternoon, he texts me. He's like, "Hey, we need help scraping glue." And the pace I'm working at, I'm like, "Cool, man, I'll be there in 30 minutes." And so just having this lifestyle of I call it flow. Like I think sometimes like we get in creative modes. That's awesome. And sometimes we're like, what I'm doing right now is not productive. And so I've kind of built a schedule where I can kind of live in flow and have those moments of like, hey, I'm going to knock out something right now, or I'm going to go for a bike ride, or I'm training for a marathon. So it's like, I'm going to go for a run. Like I feel good. Like sun's out, it's a little bit warmer. And so, yeah, the go slow summer, I'm going to do it again this year. I've learned some stuff from last year, and it's not anything that's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy, but just being intentional about your time. I'm looking at I have boundaries, the book Boundaries, like staring at me right here, just setting up boundaries. But yeah, I don't know if you have any questions about how I did that, but that was really helpful for me, and kind of a sabbatical, but not really.
Yeah, I love that you're reframing for yourself what taking rest from the business looks like, because I think a lot of folks think that it's cutting off completely. And also in business, it is usually preceded by something negative that happens, right? Your health declines, your mental health declines, something crazy happens, and then this sabbatical happens. But we don't need to wait for something terrible to happen, right? We can just use it strategically. So, what are you bringing into your next Go Slow Summer that is feeling really good that you learned from the last one?
Having a coach. So like, don't do this on your own. So my business coach, she's awesome at just like, why? Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. So trying to get to like, why are we doing this? Like, what's the point? What's the goal? Um, and then having a plan. So even just May, June, July, and part of August, because the kids go back to school in August, like, what are we doing? Let's be
Mm.
intentional about our time. And then, yeah, even like the marathon I'm doing is in September. And so I have plenty of time to like get outside to train for this. And for me, like running is just therapeutic.
Mhm.
I run with a couple buddies. We chat. I live in Colorado Springs. We have some awesome trails. So just really understanding your why, but then also talk to people. And having people that will ask you like why you're doing this, what's the point, what's the goal. It sounds like we're being a little bit too strategic, but you like time is precious. Like make sure you don't
Mhm.
spoil it, because I'm sure you have people. I know people who have taken sabbaticals and come back even more beat up because
Mhm.
they've done a US tour in an RV, and like they come back and they need a sabbatical from their sabbatical. Um,
Yes, it's just stress in a different form.
yeah, I haven't taken my kids to Disney World yet because I think I have a panic attack even thinking about like trying to like herd them through those lines. But for me, that's not, yeah, I think rest is a great word. Like what brings you rest, what doesn't bring you rest. And then, yeah, being intentional about how you spend that time. And yeah, one of our mutual friends, he's a sabbatical coach. And I'm like, does that even exist? And then I've
Mhm.
had clients use him and they're like, it was amazing. Um, and even like, yeah, with business, like don't do it alone, but find the right coach for you to help you strategically use that time to level up kind of holistically.
Mm. You said you're training for a marathon, which is super exciting. Do you have any wisdom or advice to share around setting up some personal goals or personal contributions during a rest period to really just connect you with your mission or yourself or your family or any of that?
Yeah. So I just went on a leadership retreat 2 weeks ago with our mutual friend, and he is an amazing question asker. And the last question, the last day before we all kind of like separated, he said, "What do you want?" That's it. Like we we each had like an hour to go like write down, what do I want? That question wrecked me, because I'm 45 and my kids are getting older. Like I got 3 summers left with my oldest kiddo. Um,
Mm,
but what do you want? Because I feel like we live in a world where we can dream and then go do it. Like we're not all stuck in cubicle America anymore. You want to start a business, it's easier than ever. You don't want to have a business, cool. Like there's opportunities, there's hybrid. Um, but I think it's such a powerful question that it's hard to answer. So even last Friday with my Friday off, I blocked out 3 hours on my schedule to just answer that. And for me, I
mm,
like to kind of go to a coffee shop, um, put my phone away, grab my moleskin, grab my pencil, and just sketch out like for me, I did like on a daily basis, what do I want? On a weekly, on a monthly. I'm a big fan of the 12-week year. Like
mm,
what is that 90-day, 12-week year? What do I want? And then I also run healthydads.com, and ours is faith, family, fitness, food, finances, and fun. And so putting them in buckets. Like what do I want when it comes to fitness? For
mm.
me, I have an ideal weight I want to be at. Um, I have accountability partners around that. But yeah, just kind of answering that for you, and then building that lifestyle around it. But I think even since that question, it's been 2 weeks, I think, and I've told a few people that, and I think they just pause because it's like we like um people in the military. There's something comforting about you're here at this time, and then you're here at this time. Like it sounds like a prison, but sometimes it's like the constraints breed creativity. That's what
Mhm.
Mike McCasowitz said. But I miss that sometimes as a business owner because we don't have constraints necessarily, and so we just kind of do whatever. But it just causes more stress. But yeah, just what do you want, and then yeah, start with a day and a week, a month. And for me, that was just helpful just to kind of plan out what does that look like for my wife, my kiddos, my friends, and then those different elements of your life, even your bank account. Like, what is that number you need to be happy? Because I think a lot of us, it's probably a lot less than we think it is. Um, yeah.
That's amazing. Any bit of advice or wisdom that you want to share with someone who's considering pulling back or considering kind of weaving in a little bit more rest into their lifestyle or into their business? Maybe they're hesitant. What would you say to that person?
Try it. Like, with marketing, we A/B test everything. So just A/B test it. But this is what I learned with taking Fridays off is I get a lot more work done on Fridays because I take Fridays off. And what that does is it gives me time to think, to create. And I do a lot of hiking, so I'll take a chair with me and just go to the trail. And it's amazing when you're not thinking about tasks with work, how you can. I'm sure there's like brain science to it, but when you're not thinking about this problem, your brain's thinking about it and it starts
Mm,
answering it. So my Fridays, take my moleskin up there to the trail, and um, I tackle big problems with business, with life. And so yeah, not working Fridays has been one of the most productive things for my business. Just yeah, giving yourself time to think creatively. So yeah, test it. Even just try and take Friday afternoon off. Like, what does that look like? Go to a coffee shop. Delete. One thing too is I've deleted all the social media off my phone, which has been I miss it. Like I'm an Instagram real person. If I'm waiting for a kid at school, like I can spend, 10, 15 minutes just watching reels, but I don't. I'll put a book in the car and I'll just pull a book out, or I'll just stare at nothing. Which sounds weird, but yeah, it's helping me slow down. And I have a Garmin watch that also measures my stress. And even just
mm,
watching those charts when I'm unplugged from technology, from social media, my resting heart rate it has a scale of like 0 to 100. Like I can live at like 25 or 30. When I'm on tech, I'm usually like 50. When I'm meeting with
mm.
people, it's, 60, 70. But yeah, just even using the technology, like, the body keeps the score. So like, what is your body telling you that you're maybe not accepting, and then using these tools to like live a healthier life.
Oh, it's awesome. I love that little hack of like getting objective about your stress levels and where you might be at a current moment. Um, Well, thank you. I appreciate you opening up about strategic rest and how you've been using that. So thank you so much for sharing.
You bet. Thank you.